Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome. Which way am I looking? There I am. There you are. Um, Welcome to this week's Monday Motivation. And I will pre-warn you that I'm sitting down this morning on a very squeaky chair. So if you hear that noise, it's not me, it's not the background, it's my chair. So if you're watching and you are watching live or watching on the replay, please do say hello. It's so great to see you here on a Monday. So if you are watching this for the very first time, perhaps somebody has shared it on their timeline, perhaps somebody's recommended that you watch it, which I get a lot of messages all the time saying, I found this because so-and-so told me to watch it. And of course, I can't possibly know all of you, but I do try to get to know you. So here's how these started. Many moons ago, back when I was at senior management level in financial services, I used to think Mondays got a bad rap. It was almost like Mondays was something to be feared. And I very quickly used to just send round like a little motivational saying or message to some people one was in my team and a few people around the building that I knew. And before long, more and more people would send this on. So fast forward to 2010, once I started my business, I did the same thing. I adopted the same approach, and I used to send a Monday motivation email out to whoever was on my database every Monday. And then about 3.5 years ago, I thought, why not bring this up to date? I quite like doing these new things at the time that were called Facebook Live. Why not actually bring it up to date and have a discussion around it? Because I was starting to get like lots of messages and people saying, thank you so much, that was really helpful. So I decided to bring it to life. So with that, Monday Motivations here on this Facebook page were born. And the thing that astounds me so much is the number of people that watch these back on the replay, not only in the Monday morning, but throughout the week. And I always say it, these Monday Motivations are here to motivate you for your Monday, your morning and your week. And because we're going into a new month, it could even be your month. So with that, let me take a sip of water. I can see your comments already. So let me read them out. And by the way, if you're one of the people that likes to watch this but doesn't want to comment, in my books, that's okay too. I like the fact that you watch these, and I also respect your privacy. So first off the blocks, of course, is Alan saying, morning, Jenny. Hope the clock situation is all well and good, Alan. I have to say, here in the UK, our clocks went back. So we're no longer British Summertime or BST. We're now GMT again. And the good thing about most of my clocks is that they all reset themselves. I remember the days where you'd walk around the house having to reset everything, apart from the central heating, of course. that hasn't reset itself. We've got Alan. We have Ivona. She's saying, morning, Jenny, morning all. We've got, who else have we got? Oh, Karen. Hello, Karen. She's saying, morning, Jenny, morning, Alan, morning, Ivona. This is like the reverse of, what was that programme? Was it the Waltons? Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, everybody. Anyway, I will get on with it. We have Aop. We have Ian. We have Teresha. Hello, Teresha. Oh, nice crowd of you. Are you all up so early? Because it's really like, do you keep saying that thing? It's 7:00, but really it's 8:00. Anyway, this week's Monday Motivation is all around fear again. And I thought I would carry it on. I've written some notes down here. So if you see me looking, this is why. I thought I would carry on the conversation from last week because so many people throughout the week spoke about fear to me, whether they were clients, whether they were friends. I'm human as well. I go through my own fearful experiences too. And one of the things that I really enjoyed uncovering, which I thought would be handy to share in terms of motivation for your Monday, your morning and your week, is that fear can sometimes be good. Now, what do I even mean by that? So let's dive in and look at where fear comes from. Well, there's a part of the brain called the amygdala, and the amygdala is the bit that has the fear response. That's the kind of the biological, scientific part of it. But actually, when we're feeling the fear, when we're feeling the emotion, the science, the stats, the statistics, the facts and figures actually fly out of the window, because when we're in an emotion, any emotion, especially one such as fear, which can be really strong, we are in it. It's hard to see outside of it. And I spoke about that element of it last week. But I thought it would be helpful just to explore this week, like, where does that even come from? Where does fear come from, and why do we experience it? Why do some people seemingly be able just to kind of get on with it and not feel fear around anything, where others, sometimes, we can be in a fearful state and we can almost be crippled by it. So, why is that? What is that about? So I thought I would use some real life examples. So let's think about fear from a point where most people can kind of think about it. Let's just say the first example I wrote down, I called it the dark street example. You're walking down a very, very dark street. Maybe it's usually well lit, maybe it never is well lit, but you're walking down a dark street and fear starts to creep in. Now, there could be a number of reasons for that. There could be a point of reference, or it could be the general reason that fear will come up is generically it protects us from something. So the first point that I want to make today on why fear could be good is that fear actually serves a purpose. Remember that, always remember that. So you're walking down a dark street, you might have to have your wits about you. The fear could be that somebody could leap out of the shadows. The fear could be that you might trip over something. The fear could be that you might tread in something that you really don't want to tread in. The fear could be that you can't see everything that you wanted to see, and maybe you're somehow missing out. I mean, FOMO has become a thing, fear of missing out, and people really do have anxiety over missing out something that they think that is imperative to their life. So that's where it starts from. I should have worn my glasses because I'm going to be doing that look. Sorry, I'm looking at Ivona's comment. She said, good topic to explore based on my experience last week. Oh my gosh, yes, of course. This has been coming up a lot. So that's where fear could come from. So it could be that dark street. Another fear that came up for a friend of mine quite recently was drops, high drops. Fear of heights is a common one. And, fear of heights, the purpose of that is to keep us safe. Back in the day when we were kind of like feasting and foraging for our food, we could end up walking along a mountain edge. Well, if we got to the edge, we could fall off the edge. So the fear actually was there to keep us safe. It would mean stay away from that. And if you think about a young child, I remember, and this is going back decades, no longer a young child now, like a fully fledged man. But I remember my friend had a little toddler, and when they're walking around and they're touching everything, and we'd gone round to see my mum, and this little toddler was walking around, saw the radiator, and having just been doing that and padding themselves against the wall, pointed at the radiator and went hot, like that. Now the radiator wasn't on, but that young child had already learned danger, danger, danger. There could be danger there, and lightly could have learnt it as a point of reference. So for those of you who are thinking point of reference, what are you talking about? Point of reference is, like, for example, in the dark street analogy, when you're fearful of something because of something that's happened in the past. You have got a point of reference in the past that you can look back and say, yep, that time when I did this thing, this happened, and this time when I do this similar thing, this could happen. So it's not actualized, but a point of reference can sometimes make or break. So my marathon training, yes, Alan, you'll be very pleased to know I haven't fallen off the wagon yet. In my marathon training, I think actually one of the good fears, if you like, the good reasons that I'm still like excited and happy and training, even though it's got darker, even though it's got colder, even though already out of 6 outdoor training sessions I have already run in the rain 4 times. So, that's 2/3 of the time. Even though I've done all of that, I have never run a marathon. I don't have a point of reference in my head to say, oh my gosh, it's going to be so difficult. I can imagine it will be, but because I have no point of reference, that's not a helpful thought for me. So I'm keeping it out of my head. So I don't have that point of reference. And actually, I have to say an ex-non-runner, because I have to, embrace the fact that I am now a runner, weirdly. But as an ex-non-runner, I can't even have a point of reference to going for a long run or anything else like that. And it will come, but I don't have that point of reference. Yet there are people who are probably in the same position as me, never run before, never run a marathon before, might have got through to the ballot. Their fear might have made them go, you know what, I'm not even going to go in, I'm not even going to enter it. Their fear might have them go, well, I'm not going to train. And anything that comes up as a reason not to do something is normally actually an excuse. Whether we like to admit that or not, myself included, it's normally an excuse. So we've got the dark street, we've got the high drops. So I've talked about a point of reference where we can't see it. And one of the things that we're all kind of hardwired into, it could be 5 people, 10 people, 100 people sitting in front of me who've all got a fear of the dark. They will all construct that fear in very unique and different ways. Even though it's allegedly the same fear, the same outcome, they would construct it in different ways. Some might have a point of reference, others might have no idea why, but it's learned behaviour. All fear is learned behaviour. So there is a point where they can't see the success. So they can't see that actually it could be dark and they could be okay. And this is pretty much what happens with a lot of us when we are looking at a goal, or when we're looking at doing something that we want to do. They say whatever the mind can see or believe, it can achieve, quite literally. And it comes out in our language. We don't even think about it. How many times have we said in the past, I can't really see that happening? Your language is telling you, I cannot see that happening. And because you can't see the thing happening, it's harder to progress it. And this is exactly the same with fear. So the reason that I've kind of broken all of that down is because I'd invite you, if there's something that you're feeling fearful about, and if between last week and this week, one of those fears has kind of dissipated, pick another one. Pick the one that's going to make the biggest difference to you now. Don't go for sort of like what I term the scaling. I'm going to go for this fear because it's big, or I'm going to go for this fear because it's small. Go for the one that if you could turn it around would make the biggest difference. And by the way, whilst I'm here, as Ivona says, it would be a crime not to, and it would be a crime not to tell you that as a life coach and as a business coach, that I can actually help you with this individually through one-to-one sessions. So just so that you know, if this is something that you've been struggling with or battling with, you've tried it by yourself, you've read lots of books, you've watched YouTube videos, and it's still hanging around, do send me a message. It is a paid for service, just to be candid and out there. But do send me a message and I can schedule a time. We can have a chat. And the reason that we have a chat, a bit like a doctor, I want to find out what's going on for you and whether I can help. And most of the time I can, but if in any circumstances I can't help, I know so many people. I mean, look at the top fans here. We've got Alan, Ivona, Teresa, who are on this live already, who in some way, shape or form deal with coaching through a fear. So whether it's you're going through a really bad time and you need to kind of settle, Alan's got an amazing life story, and I know he's going to be on an interview this week as well. We've got Teresa, who's a master relationship coach, and we've got Ivona, who helps you to get relationship ready, and she does it in such a cool, gentle way. You won't feel like you're being told to do something. It's very inclusive. So let's say, for example, you tell me that the biggest fear is going out on a date, then I can tell you straight away, well, actually, here's someone for you to speak to, and I can find out more information so that you get to the person that you need to get to. So with that said, going back to our subject, a couple of reasons why fear can get the better of us can be because we can't see the success, as I've just said. The other thing is it's unknown. So for me, in my marathon experience, I don't know what it's like to run a marathon, but instead of being crippled by fear, I'm actually still very excited. I'm like an excitable puppy. And it's because it's the unknown, but that's not the same for everyone. So in a way, I can't see me not running the marathon. I can't see me not giving it a go. I can't see me not walking it if I absolutely have to. So I'm like, I'm good. I'm doing it regardless. The other thing is sometimes it's unclear, and why fear is good in these sort of circumstances is fear is good if we because, as I say, it's protecting us, but fear is also good because we can massage it within ourselves so that it actually serves a purpose. And once we find out what purpose that's serving, then we can start to transform it, then we can start to change it. But we can only do that if we're motivated to do it. So if I come along and say, okay, you with your fear of purple, let's take Ivona. Ivona loves the colour purple. So you fear purple, let me make you love it all the time. That's not going to work because that comes from me, but not from Ivona. As it happens, Ivona loves purple, I happen to know. So the motivation to do something needs to come from within us. We can't be told, and there's a high percentage of human beings that are wired not to be told to do things. I was once told this when I had hypnotherapy years ago for arachnophobia. I especially don't like to be told to do things, which I'm sure my parents and my family would go, yes. So given that it needs to come, the motivation needs to come from ourselves, here are a couple of things we can do to explore good fear. So the first thing is, have a look at what you're motivated to do. Biggest reason why people will cite like coaching doesn't work, coach was no good, is normally A, because we haven't got a clear vision of what we want instead of the thing we've got. B, we are then, because we don't have a clear vision, we're then unclear in ourselves. We're not sure what it is we want. Do we want that thing? You know, do I want to run the marathon? Do I just want to run a half marathon? Do I want to run the park? Do I want to run to the toilet? What is it I want to do? If it's unclear, it's really hard for our mind to put the focus on it and then transform that. And then the other thing is the unknown. Now, this is a sneaky little critter because when something is unknown to us, how we stop that from being good for us. Okay, so when it's unknown, we should, or we shouldn't, but when something's unknown, the best thing for us to do is to go with what we do know. Sometimes we will till the soil, if you like, also known as worry. We'll till the soil, keep tilling the soil, and because we till the soil, we'll then work ourselves up into a state of panic. And there's actually no need to do that. So if you find yourself doing something that's unknown and you're a bit on the fence and you're like, I don't know how to feel about this, when you say it, don't know whether this is a good thing, don't know whether this is a bad thing, I don't know how I feel about this. Use that worry, use that overthinking in a positive way. Have a look at how you can think your way into the thing you want to do rather than out of it, is probably the best way I can put it. I had this conversation with a client about 3 weeks ago now, and it's so amazing that even though this is a very conversational process, so I'm not going to hypnotise you or anything else like that, it's a very conversational process, but the thing that can really transform for the person comes from when they think of it themselves. So get out of confusion, get clarity, and really get into your own motivation. No one else can do this to you, do this for you, apart from you. So identify what the fear is, and identify the fear that if you could transform it would make the biggest difference to you right now. Let me give you an example as I wrap up. And if you've got any questions, do put them in the box. Oh, bless you. You're all saying thank you for the mention. So Teresa and Ivona, absolutely. I mean, you're my top fans. You're my top fans. But just because you're my top fans doesn't mean that you're not excellent in your own right, you know. It's funny because I'm writing some training for people who are employed, who want career progression, based on my own system, based on some of the experiences that not only I've had, but some of the experiences some of my clients have had. This is not the most visible piece of work that I do. Yes, I've been on the radio and I've talked about career changes. I've also talked about people who've done really great things in their career on the radio. But it's not a body of work that has previously been out there. And as I was preparing the work, I was looking at like the reasons that some people get the career progression and the reasons some people don't. And this is where that and the visibility piece ties in really, really nicely. So quite often when we are looking to, you know, to put ourselves out there, to get ourselves out there, fear can be a factor, but it doesn't manifest itself as, oh my gosh, I'm really scared. It manifests itself from like, I've got research that goes back like from thousands of people now over the last like 7 years specifically, because the first few years I didn't even think to, you know, make a note of what people were saying or anything like that. But usually fear will manifest itself where, have you ever found in your head you've gone, oh, I don't know, I reckon there's someone else that's going to be a bit better suited to the position than me. So you nearly took yourself out of the game. Have you ever found yourself saying, you know, the only way that I can ever make a go of my career is actually to leave this company and go somewhere else? Well, strictly speaking, that's not true. There's a high statistic of people that are looking to move, and that's like through a deep embedded fear. It doesn't feel fearful sometimes. It feels like a sensible thing to do. But actually, all it is that they haven't seen a clear way that they can do this. They haven't been shown a clear way they can do this. Hence the piece of work that I'm working on right now. So excited to unveil it. So if that is you, if you have got a fear, currently, don't beat yourself up for the fear. This is like an act of self-care, an act of self-love, an act of looking after yourself. Have a look first of all about why that fear is there in the first place. And the best way to do that is to explore what purpose is it serving, how is it protecting you. And sometimes the answer that comes up to you will seem really strange, but hugely beneficial. So hopefully helpful. I'd love to know a bit more about anything that you want to work through this week. And if you don't want to post it in the comments below here publicly, either live or on the replay, remember there's the Visibility Vibes Tribe. And for those of you that are part of the membership program and have been some of my closer clients, you've also got the Inner Circle Be Seen Academy. So, do feel free to share as much or as little as you want to in there. Do feel free to reach out, because the one thing that I do know about fear is that if you're doing it alone, it feels so much worse. But if you're doing it with other people, it kind of dissipates the fear. So thank you so much for joining me. Please don't keep this a secret. Please do share this video on your timeline. I'm so grateful to those of you that do, and so grateful to those of you that watch. Thank you so much. Today is a coaching day, so I might be a bit quiet, but I look forward to seeing your posts. And also, I just want to end by saying a big, massive thank you for those of you that took the reins and jumped into the video 5 days of Facebook fun that we did last week. It was fun, and the insights that you've got from that have really warmed my heart. Thank you so much. It makes being on the planet and doing this visibility work feel completely like my life purpose. So thank you so much. Lots of love to you. And do you like the spindly flowers in the background, the gladioli? They're for a reason, because I will be filming later. Hopefully, it looks like the sun's coming out, so it might be a bit brighter. Thank you so much for watching. Lots of love to you all. Have the most beautiful, magical Monday, day, morning, week, whatever you're doing. Bye for now.